As people probably who know me probably recognise that I'm not sort of shy at coming forward. So if this is upsets you in any way, you can look away now, as they say. We're probably in a situation whereby if ever there was a case for that burning platform, then we clearly have one today. And I guess that's some of the sort of aspects of certainly my presentation. See if we can get this to work. Yeah, jolly good. Okay. So some of the things that I really want to focus on are the aspects of leadership, because at the forefront of all this is not going to move forward. This agenda of procurement is not going to move forward unless procurement takes a lead in, if you like, essentially what is the call that we have today. And for me, in a sense, I see it as a great opportunity. Clearly, it requires some clear collaboration, and so what I call real collaboration. I'll talk about that in a moment. I think the other aspects of, and I understand absolutely where Nicola is coming from in terms of the tortoise bit, but I guess somebody just put a bomb under that and called it the here and now, because, by the way, I want it tomorrow. Next year is literally sort of 3 months away in terms of fiscal years, and the savings clock, a fairly significant savings clock, commences on the 1st of April 2011. So that's not very far away. And I guess talking about what I call the sacred cows, for those of you in local government or probably even central government will recognise that there are lots of areas where people say, well, that's the way it's always been, so that's the way it is. Well, guess what? Things have got to change. And I think, as Colin said earlier, we can't have the quantum of savings that we're looking for just by simply tinkering at the edges, as I call it. This has to be some fairly radical changes to the way in which we do business, and that is about, really, for me, balancing that pendulum that we've had in the public sector of quality and service come first, we'll talk about the money afterwards. Well, guess what? We've just got to reverse that, because the reality is that the money will run out, we won't have the money, and actually we will be doing a disservice because there won't be the funds in place then to deliver the essential services. So we have that responsibility to make sure that the money can be evenly, properly and fairly distributed around the different budgets that we have set. So, yes, those of you with an eye test due in a few days' time, you can read the bottom section. But obviously for me, as I said, I think there's some really key principles. If you look in the dictionary and say, what does leadership mean? Actually, when I looked at the Collins Dictionary and I looked at, the words of Peter Drucker and other people, quite frankly, it's a bit wishy-washy. And for me, if you're going to be a leader, then the bottom line is you've got to have followers, because it's as simple as that. If people are not following you to the direction and the vision that you're going to take them to, then you're not a leader. And that's quite an important point, because if you look behind and there's nobody behind you, then you're not a leader. So you have to ask yourself that question, where are you? Are you a leader or are you a follower? And I think for me also this whole thing about getting respect is quite important. People will only follow you if they can respect what you're doing, how you're doing things, the standards and the way in which you're actually delivering things. If not, then people will not simply follow you, and therefore you then fail to lead, basically. It's about making those really, really tough decisions, and that's not about making what I call the easy decisions. It's about making the tough decisions. One of the things that struck me when I first entered public sector, because I'm not public sector through and through, if you've read my biograph, this is my first venture into public sector, and it's quite interesting in terms of the amount at which people will abdicate decisions, as I call it, and default into, well, we've got to do that now anyway because we've run out of time or we have no other means to do it. We're just simply going to have to do this. Well, guess what? That's really, really got to change fundamentally for the good, because just simply defaulting into, if you like, what I call the warm water that's just flowing along is simply not going to be good enough. And we have to really, in a sense, seize this as an opportunity. People are looking for decision makers in the public sector. And for me, in a sense, if you're a procurement professional of your worth, which I believe you probably are, otherwise you wouldn't be here, then you have to make some decisions. That's really, really important. And that sometimes, really, in a sense, for me, means that you're going to have to stick your neck out and be counted. But that's the time, and that's the period that we're in. It's going to be a very tough period, and we're going to have to lead from the front. It's a great opportunity, so don't get me wrong. I think these are going to be really interesting and exciting times. I don't see them as a problem. I actually see them as a great challenge and an opportunity. So I think, for me, it's very much about the here and now. And it's about being able to sell visions to people. People will actually respect the fact that somebody can actually give them a picture that they can say, yeah, I get that, I understand that, I can see where this is going, I can see where it leads, and yes, there are some difficult things to do along the way, but I understand where it's leading to, and I understand what it will look like when I get there. The next is a quotation, and I'm sure you can all read. Yes, it does say that. And it was from a guy that I'm sure some people will probably recognise, who was a fairly outspoken guy. And it does actually mean pissing a few people off. Because guess what? That's the time that we're in. Trying to get everybody to like you, as I've always said to people, I'm not really too worried about the fact that people maybe don't actually vote for me as top in the popularity contest at Westminster. But I do care if they respect me, they recognise the professionalism that we apply, and they can accept that the objectivity by the way in which we're delivering the decisions, and it's fair. So I think the essence of the message is that the risk that you've got is by trying to placate, appease, appeal to, if you like, in a sense, what you think people want to hear or listen to, is not necessarily the right thing. Because in the long run, people will actually recognise, and some of the words that you say will resonate with them at a further point in time down the track. And therefore, for that reason, it's very, very important that you stay honest and true on this journey that we have to make in terms of some of the difficult decisions. It is not about being mediocre. Mediocre is not going to cut it in the very tough and challenging times that we face ahead. It is very much about making those honest, transparent, and I think for me, in a sense, very fair decisions based on facts and data as much as you possibly can, because that is unfortunately where we are. Collaboration. Well, we've heard lots talked about collaboration, and for me, I get quite worried by the fact that people talk about collaboration but don't really mean it. And what do I mean by that? Is that people say, yes, we will collaborate. And you say, okay, then that's great, fantastic. Here's a memorandum of understanding. Oh, well, I'll have to send that off to the lawyers now, and we'll get back to you in a couple of months, and we'll make some changes. And then when we've done that, then we need to have another meeting then to understand what you... And just the whole thing just goes on and on and on. You just say, do you want to collaborate or don't you? Come on, are you serious or are you just messing us around? Because I'd be quite candid. For me, we do not have the time or the appetite to spend lots and lots of money and resources wasting time working out whether or not we've got the legalities in place to whether or not we want to collaborate. Either you do or you don't. It's as simple as that. And I get quite disheartened, particularly when I'm amongst a peer group of procurement leaders at different forums, and there'll always be a number of people that will be saying, yeah, fine, great, yeah, we're ready to collaborate. They go off, and then the next thing is you send them something, you say, right, okay, we're doing this on such a today, this is where we're going, this is what's on offer, I'll get back to you. Fantastic. Real engagement. You're a real leader. And you know what? You can actually spot them in the room almost. They must be wearing a badge, or maybe it's just my old cynical age coming out or something like that. But for me, if you look at the London landscape, and I'm sorry if it's slightly parochial, and I don't mean it to be that because I actually come from North Yorkshire, so I guess I can say that. There are 33 London boroughs, notwithstanding all the other publicly funded bodies within London. And they've all got their own shared service centre, effectively, with procurement, with finance, with HR, with ICT, and the list goes on. But they've all declared their independence.